What's up, guys? So today we're going to be ranking all of the specialty sets and telling you what you should buy in 2025 for massive gains on your Pokemon investments. We just did this with booster boxes. It had a pretty good response from you guys, so I'm going to do it again with specialty sets. Obviously, I have photos of ETBs, but just remember that a lot of these specialty sets have other products like UPCs, like booster bundles that you can invest in that may even be better investments than the ETBs. But PC ETBs as well, by the way, should be probably a different category at this point. But we'll just talk about the specialty set overall. So beginning, Hidden Fates, jumping right into this, I'm going to put in buy a box. Hidden Fates is actually up 15% on the year and is about to reach $200. And we have seen some sales over $200, I believe. You know, this couple days ago, $209.99, 9 boxes bought. So it's really pushing that 180, 198, 199 range, almost $200, which is good to see because Hidden Fates was printed into the ground. A very popular set, obviously. And we're going to talk about Hidden Fates in relation to a lot of these other sets later in the video. So just remember Hidden Fates, right? And to look at some of the cards in here, Charizard GX, $460. You have the Umbreon GX, $150. Cynthia's over $80. Sylveon GX, Espeon GX, Mewtwo GX, Greninja GX, Leafeon, Scizor, Darkrai, Gardevoir, like Lucario, Glaceon. Like there's tons of cards in this set. Super, super deep. People love opening this. They love the promo cards from the ETB, the promo card from the ETB as well. So it's not surprising to me that this is moving up. You should probably have some exposure to Hidden Fates, but I wouldn't go super heavy into it at this point. Next up, Champion's Path. Pretty flat on the year, only up 8.8%, which is actually a decent return, all things considered. But nothing too crazy in here. I'm going to put in only deals. If we look at the set, you have the Charizard V and you have the Charizard V Max, the Rainbow Charizard up top. Those are both, $200 and $165 cards respectively. Then it drops off drastically. There's basically no supporting casts under that. So nothing super, super crazy in terms of depth to the set. And it doesn't move a ton in terms of sales, but also in terms of price. So if you can find a decent deal on this, you get a box for like $80 USD or something, I'd probably just pick up one. And I think that's fine. Same thing with the next up, Shining Fates rather. $50 an ETB right now, up 13.85% on the year. Most of that's actually happened, I believe, in the past 6 months. It was kind of flat for the longest time. Shining Fates was printed into the ground. If we go look at sets, nothing too crazy here. You have the Charizard VMAX up top, almost $100, and then it drops to a Skyla Full Art at $8. And then again, nothing too crazy. You have the Suicune Baby Shiny. You have a Ditto VMAX, Galarian Ponyta. So again, nothing crazy in this set. Only deals if you find a box for like $30 or something, $35, sure, maybe pick up one or something like that. But don't go crazy into Shining Fates. Celebrations, next up, this one is interesting. Celebrations up 22.5% on the year. This box was flat for the longest time, if not down, and it's just recently getting a pump, and a lot of this does have to do with the Charizard moving up in price a lot. This was a $70 card for the longest time, and now it's kind of just exploded up to $100. If we look at most recent sales, one yesterday, $180. I'm not sure if that's Japanese or something special, maybe PSA 10. It won't let me open on TCG Player. $100 though, 96, 93, 94. So it is about a $100 card right now, up about 50% in the past couple months, right there, and that's probably a reason for a lot of the growth. But I'm going to put Celebrations behind Hidden Fates and buy a box. Maybe you want a bit of exposure to it. I don't think it's going to do super well long term. I think a lot of these other sets we're going to talk about later in the video will outperform it. I think Hidden Fates will outperform it. But if you want some exposure, buy a box. And obviously, you can find a good deal on it, buy even more. But I'll leave it at buy a box for now. I think that's fine. Next up, Pokemon Go. Everyone's favorite set. Up 7.76% on the year, sitting around $40. Nothing super crazy in Pokemon Go in terms of cards. You have the Mewtwo V-Star, you have the Dragonite V-Star, the Mewtwo V Alt Art, a couple other cards, Radiant Charizard, Melmetal VX, like nothing super crazy. Pokemon Go is going to go in only deals, and I'm going to put it in front of Shining Fates just because I think there's a bit more depth than just the Charizard VMAX from Shining Fates. I don't think it's better than Champion's Path, just because, Champion's Path has two really big top hits, and I think you have to consider that. So only deals, if you find a box for like $25 USD, sure, go for it. Maybe you want to buy one of the Pokemon Center exclusive ETBs, something like that. But yeah, I wouldn't go crazy into Pokemon Go. The next set, though, that I would go crazy into is Crown Zenith, sitting around $67, $68 for an ETB right now, and it's up about 70% on the year. So those of you who are new to the hobby, Crown Zenith got a massive reprint last year. Before the reprint, ETBs were already like $70, $80. They went down to like $30, $35. Around Christmas time last year, you could buy them up very, very cheap. People should have been going all in. I bought a lot of Crown Zenith. I'm still buying Crown Zenith. And within a year, the price has basically recovered back to where it was, which, considering how big of a reprint it was, and then we got booster bundle restocks, we got the Sea and Sky box. Like it's actually really impressive that we're already back to this point for the ETBs. And I said, remember Hidden Fates earlier in this video, right? Hidden Fates kind of had a similar path where it was heavily reprinted. Obviously, there are tons of good cards in Hidden Fates. I would almost wager that Hidden Fates is better, especially when you look at the top hits in it. You have that Charizard, the Umbreon. Like those two cards alone are more expensive than any card in Crown Zenith. But Crown Zenith is something people really love to open. Hit rates are good. You have some great cards. Obviously, the Giratina, the Mewtwo, Arceus, Palkia, Dialga. You have some evolutions in there. The dogs. The Pikachu Secret Rare is actually like almost 11th most expensive card if I'm, doing my math correctly now at this point, which is kind of insane. Darkrai's over $20, so super deep set that people want to open and will want to open in the future. I'm putting Crown Zenith in buy a case, and I would almost put it up here. If it was a couple months ago, I would probably still put it up here. I think ETBs are just, a little too expensive to go all in on Crown Zenith right now. But buy a case, definitely have a fair amount of exposure to Crown Zenith. If you can find stuff at MSRP that's below market price, I would absolutely buy it. Like if you have good deals on like Sea and Sky boxes at Sam's Club, like you're in the States or something like that, you can find tins cheap, booster bundles cheap, like anything like that, definitely buy it up. Even ETBs at $70 USD, I think Crown Zenith is still a decent buy, especially long term if you are going to be holding for 5 or 10 years. Crown Zenith is going to be a very strong set. The next set as well is also going to be very strong, which is 151. ETBs are up 133% over the past 12 months. Insane growth. And again, 151, you have a lot of options from Destiny. You could get ETBs, you could get UPCs, booster bundles, lots of options, the PC ETBs. 151, I am going to put in buy a case, and I'm going to put it in front of Crown Zenith. If this was 6 months ago and prices were the same and I knew what I knew now, obviously I'd have it way up top in S tier. I do think it's getting a little expensive, but you still want exposure to it because I don't know if there's going to be a reprint of it. I thought for the longest time 151 was going to get reprinted, especially when they reprinted the Japanese 151. I thought there's no way they're not going to reprint ETBs or UPCs, booster bundles, stuff like that. We have seen restocks, but nothing to the extent we saw with something like Crown Zenith or Hidden Fates. And I definitely didn't buy as much 151 as I wanted to, and now I'm kind of paying the price for that. But I would buy some 151, guys. It's undeniable that people want the set. They want to open it. A lot of us grew up with Gen 1. It's our favorite set. Charizard, $210 now. That's basically doubled over the past year. Blastoise and Venusaur pushing $70 now. The Alakazam is, my favorite Pokemon, so obviously one of my favorite cards, if not my favorite from Scarlet and Violet era. And you just have a lot of depth to it of all the, Gen 1 starters or evolution, some other cards like Dragonairs in here. So, really deep set people want to open for a long time. Definitely buy a case. Paldean Fates, next up, I'm going to put in buy a case as well. People are just starting to realize how good Paldean Fates is, myself included. For the longest time, this was $45. It's now up to around $60. Paldean Fates is still within its reprint window, so that is something that we need to consider. 151 is also within its reprint window, but I do think if 151 gets reprinted, it's going to get chewed up super, super fast. And obviously we have the Blooming Waters collection coming, which I forgot to talk about for 151, but I don't think that's going to do really anything to like ETB prices or booster bundle prices, so that's why I didn't think it was super relevant. Paldean Fates, ETBs could get reprinted, booster bundles could get reprinted, so that's why I'm not putting it in S tier, but some of these cards are dope. Like The Mew EX at $90, I thought it was overvalued or undervalued. $300 at this point, insane. The Charizard $150, Gardevoir at $54, the Pikachu shiny, the Charmander, the Iono. So it really is top heavy. It reminds me a lot of something like a Lost Origin, where you have that massive hit up top. It's kind of like Twilight Masquerade in that sense. And I'm putting it at the back of buy a case, right? So like you don't actually have to buy a case, but in this ranking, I would go 151 Crown Zenith, Paldean Fates, and then Hidden Fates. But if you wanted to do something like this, where you put Hidden Fates in front of Paldean Fates in the order, I think that's fine as well. Like these two right here are very, very close in my mind, especially considering the reprint window is still quite open for Paldean Fates. And then next up, Shrouded Fable, obviously S tier. I'm absolutely kidding, guys. Not S tier at all. But I'm going to put it in buy a box. Now, hear me out here. And you know what? I actually might put it in front of Celebrations like this. I might. Just because Shrouded Fable, in my mind, which I forgot to bring up the cards in Shrouded Fable. Sorry. You have like the Persian. You have the Dusknoir. That whole generation line. You have, what else is in there? The Houndoom. You have the Cassiopeia. Like, there are a lot of cards in that set that are underrated in my mind, or just, overlooked because people are opening Surging Sparks. They're already excited about Prismatic Evolutions. So, Shrouded Fable, if you can find it below MSRP, like a lot below MSRP, like if you're picking up ETBs at $30, you might even want to get a case at $30. There's very little risk. And when we talk about sets that may get reprinted, Pokemon would have to reprint a lot of things probably before they do Shrouded Fable. 151 could get reprinted. Crown Zenith, obviously not. 151, Paldean Fates. Surging Sparks probably needs a reprint. Twilight Masquerade. Like, a lot of these sets would probably do well if they got a reprint. Shrouded Fable's probably not on the priority list for Pokemon right now, so it's something that could kind of skip that window eventually. And I think we're at a point now where it's probably going to be the cheapest it ever gets, especially if you guys are in the States, you find deals, $25 in ETB, $30 in ETB. Like, I think it's fine picking up a little bit of Shrouded Fable at that price point. There's very little downside, and you have, some upside as well. So buy a box. I'm going to put it in front of Celebrations just because of how cheap it is right now. Don't sleep on Shrouded Fable. And then finally, the actual S tier, guys, Prismatic Evolutions. Anything you can buy at MSRP for this set out the gate, buy. That's just that. That's what I'm telling you guys to do. Don't take my opinion for everything. Like, obviously, do your own research. Figure out what you want to do. But anything I can find at MSRP, like, I will be going to Walmart on release day. I'm not going to buy every box, but if there are a couple ETBs, just because I haven't been able to pre-order like anything here in Canada, it's actually kind of depressing. So unless I get pre-orders in, I will be trying to get some of this stuff at MSRP. And then I have my 2 PC ETBs. If you can find booster bundles at a good price, if you can find surprise boxes even, I think priority, like in ranking, what I would buy would be the PC ETBs, a sealed case of ETBs or the booster bundles, and then surprise boxes. That's probably how I would do it in terms of what I think returns will be. Again, Prismatic Evolutions, you have all the evolutions in here. Vaporeon, Flareon, Leafeon, Glaceon, Jolteon. Like, you have all of them, right? Umbreon's going to be the big card. Espeon as well. You have the Iron Valiant, which I think looks sick in here. The Raging Bolt EX is really cool. The Dragapult will probably do decently just because people like Dragapult. The Roaring Moon is really nice as well. Eevee, Ursaluna, Terapagos. So, tons of SIR cards that I think will do well. Some trainer cards, whatever. And we will be getting our type of reverse holo or something. These are excluded, but, it's going to be a solid set. And one thing I might add, kind of as an aside is, imagine this is like a Japanese booster box at Terrestrial Festival. I might actually throw one of those in buy a box as well, if you can visually kind of figure that out with me, right? So I'm not a fan of Japanese. I don't buy Japanese, but for a set like Terrestrial Festival, that's going to be, super popular, Prismatic Evolutions in English is going to explode. I might just pick up one box of it just just to have a little exposure in case Prismatic goes absolutely insane and people start turning to the Japanese version, especially considering the Japanese booster box is going to have God packs where you can get all the evolutions. I feel like that's something that rip and shippers, streamers, everyone alike is going to want to open just for the chance of potentially getting a God pack of the evolutions. Now, if that comes in English, things are going to get even crazier, man. Like, the hype around Prismatic Evolutions right now is bordering on insanity. But if you've got pre-orders in, guys, definitely do not cancel them. Try and get as much product out the gate as you can. But I do think that Prismatic Evolutions could get the Crown Zenith treatment. It could absolutely get the Hidden Fates treatment, where this is a set out the gate that just spikes hard, and then Pokemon prints it into the ground. They print it for a couple years, and they did say that they're going to be releasing products throughout 2025. So don't FOMO and spend hundreds of dollars over MSRP on your orders and products and stuff like that. Like, buy around MSRP. If you want to spend a little bit over, if you don't have any exposure at all, I think that's fine. But don't go crazy into Prismatic. There's going to be a lot of it. I do think that one of these sets, whether it's Prismatic that gets the reprint, 151 that gets the reprint, maybe it's Paldean Fates, maybe they even reprint Crown Zenith. They just say YOLO. But whatever one gets reprinted, I'm just going to pour money into. And if they don't reprint any of these, then I'm just getting rickrolled by the Pokemon Company. So this is going to be the ranking, guys. I didn't put anything in the bottom tier, but I guess if you wanted to put something in bottom tier, it'd probably be Shining Fates, like this. If you're buying Shining, I'll just leave it like this so we have something in every single category. If you buy Shining Fates, you're a hoarder. But again, if you find a decent deal on it, go for it. Pokemon Go and Champion's Path and only deals. Celebration, Shrouded Fable, and Hidden Fates get a little bit of exposure. Paldean Fates, Crown Zenith, 151 get more exposure, and then Prismatic Evolutions. Like, honestly, just sell your kids, sell your kidney. I don't know, sell your house, like everything. Fuck it, just YOLO into ETBs. That's the list. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay safe wherever you are in the world. I'll catch you in the next one.